Hello everyone, welcome again to the channel. Today I want to share with you my opinion about this recent article I found, and initially I just was interested because it says Canada votes against health care for Palestinians at the WHO Assembly. And the WHO documented hundreds of Israeli attacks against the Palestinian health system in 2021. And the WHA is the World Health Assembly, yearly meeting of the World Health Organization. Member states held annually in Geneva. So if you didn't know what it was, Canada voted last week against a set of recommendations calling on the international community to support access to health care for Palestinians. And the vote took place during the WHA session on May 25. Basically, the delegations were asked to vote on the recommendations of a report on the state of Palestinian health care, which documented 235 attacks against healthcare workers and facilities in the occupied territories in 2021 that injured over 100 health workers. The WHO has already confirmed 58 attacks on health workers and facilities since the beginning of the year, which caused at least one death and 47 injuries. The report called on Israel to end its denial of health care to Palestinians in occupied territories, to allow Palestinians to travel to seek health care, and to refrain from targeting healthcare workers. Canada was in a group of 14 countries, including Israel and the US, that voted no to their recommendations. 83 states voted in favor, 39 abstained, and there were some countries that were absent, so they didn't vote. So I was curious to see which these 14 countries were. And then I found this information on the website of this organization that is called United Nations Watch, UN Watch, and it's a very disgusting organization, to be honest. It's an NGO, but it is very disgusting what they are doing, and even the language they use in the website is just very stupid, in my opinion. Is my opinion, yes, consider that, but I just found it flabbergasting, the language they use, which it is coming from an NGO that is supposed to, I don't know, pursue a noble cause. That's what I will think about an NGO, but no, not them. So let's pay attention to this. They say the countries that voted no were, and they are kind of proud of that, if you think about it, are the US, UK, Australia, Austria, Brazil, Cameroon, Canada, Colombia, Czech Republic, Germany, Hungary, Israel, and the Netherlands. And this is not the first time they voted no. So if you want to look at the history of voting, you can go to this same website, the UN Watch, and see what was the voting last year. And just pay attention, for example, to this, to see what I'm talking about, the language they use. They say, however, the minority of EU member states and other democracies who voted for the absurd resolution should be ashamed. Really, they should be ashamed. And these countries that they mention in the list of countries that should be shamed for voting in favor of the resolution are France, Spain, Switzerland, Belgium, Portugal, Japan, India, Ireland, New Zealand, and Luxembourg. So imagine that these countries should be ashamed because they voted in favor. No, and this is the argument. This is a copy paste from last year, so they are not very creative in the messages they do. They say, though these countries have now encouraged the continued hijacking of the world's health priorities and the diversion of precious time, money, and resources to fight global disease in order to wage a political persecution of Israel. So it is really shameless the way they describe this, So I will just post the link to this, and I will not give you more information. You can go to the mission statement of this organization, and you will understand why they use this language. And this is let's see. These are the recommendations. So I don't know what is anything to be ashamed of, in the recommendations. They are making recommendations to the international community, to the Palestinian Authority, to the government of Israel. Let's just read one of the recommendations to not go into a lot of detail because it's very long. One of the recommendations end the arbitrary delay and denial of permits for Palestinian patients in need of essential care and ensure and hinder access for patients and their companions throughout the occupied Palestinian territory, including between the West Bank and Gaza Strip, and including to all administratively divided areas of the West Bank. What is shameful about that? I think it's a very good recommendation. To the Palestinian Authority, prioritize healthcare expenditure to ensure the continuity of essential healthcare services across the occupied Palestinian territory and urgently address indebtedness to Palestinian healthcare providers. To the international community, promote development of the Palestinian health sector through expanding investment in essential health services in line with strategic priorities of the Palestinian Ministry of Health, but technical support through the WHO Secretariat and its representation in the occupied Palestinian territory. So, what is there to be ashamed of? Nothing, and there is this another article which I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but they say those countries that voted in favor now, what is called the Global South, that was in solidarity with Palestine at the World Health Assembly. And this is the website for the WHO where you can find these documents if you're interested. And you can find here documents, for example, this is the proposal, this is the decision, health conditions in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem and in the occupied Syrian and Golan. And it says which countries propose this and the decisions. And the decisions are to continue reporting on the issue next year and a few other things. So it's kind of short. So all these documents are there if you are interested in digging more into the details of these. So I just found it, very saddening that all these things just go without mention in mainstream media, Like all these things that are really newsworthy, they are just not even mentioned. Nobody even knows about them, and they don't even know, their own countries who voted for no. Nobody knows about it. They just ignore all these things. Like why? What is the justification for this? If the justification for this is that they're wasting time and money and resources, then stop abusing the Palestinians, that will give like a better solution, instead of trying to do these kind of declarations. Anyway, that's my opinion. Let me know what you think about it, and as always, I ask you to please like the video, share it in social media, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for watching.